Now beginning transmission 110. Deadpool Max. Nutjob. File under Merry Marvel Movie Month of May.
Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want!
Welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Books and Firewater Podcast.
面白い本と歌手ポッドキャストの今週のエピソードへようこそ。
Ignore her. She drinks.
Each week, a motley band of comic readers / amateur bartenders attempt to pair cocktails with comic books.
毎週漫画の読者の雑多なバンドはスラッシュアマチュア入札しようと漫画とペアカクテルバーです。
All while trying to not sound like complete morons in the
すべ
process.
ての中にしようとして音ではないような完了プロセスで低能です。
Kind of like a speakeasy kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
You can find these idiots on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Facebook、Twitter、Instagram や Tumblr にこれらのバカを検索できます。
No, what?
You read too many comic books.
We now join Brian, Jeremiah, Adam, and Todd.
They're used to curious sights which they attribute to alcoholic delusions.
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
I'm too sober for this shit.
No one was looking. I was thinking of you. All by myself. All by myself.
I don't know that song.
How do you the fuck not know that song?
What song is that?
It's the secret track from Green Day's Dookie.
No one's looking. I was thinking of you.
That's right.
I was all by myself.
You know, I didn't really get into Green Day till a little bit later. So that,
I never got into Green Day, and I knew about that one.
The weird thing is that I got into Green Day for the album that nobody liked, which was the Warning album. That was the album I really dug, and that's like the one that Green Day fans don't like. So
I haven't watched it yet, but apparently Batman Ninja came out on digital, and I bought it.
Yeah.
I just haven't watched it, but apparently it's like the best one they've ever done from all the DC animated ones. And it was cool because they actually got anime artists from Japan to do all the artwork for the.
Oh, that's right. A friend of mine was telling me about that. Told me that was
I
really
wonder
cool.
if Production IG was involved. They do a lot of cool shit.
Are they the guys who did Cowboy Bebop?
That was Sunrise. No, IG originated Blood, the Last Vampire.
Okay.
They did Tarantino's Kill Bill bit.
Oh, okay. What was the name of that anime we used to watch? Was it Soul Taker that had the really cheesy theme song, but it was actually a really cool anime?
The Soul Eater?
No, there was a Soul Taker that was.
I don't like Soul Eater. Soul Eater's lame.
Soul Taker had a terrible opening song, but it was pretty good.
It was really cool, but because that was the one that was it almost kind of always reminded me of the Hellboy kind of art. You know what I mean? It was very graphical.
Yeah, that's Soul Taker. I also kind of dug. I liked Vampire.
Hunter D.
Helsing.
Oh, Helsing.
Van Helsing. Yeah,
well, Helsing was good. I did like Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. It was gorgeous.
Helsing is rad as shit.
I like Helsing. Yeah. I even dug Black Lagoon. I thought that was some good fun.
Black Lagoon's not one I've ever seen, actually.
Black Lagoon. It has a lot of take Cowboy Bebop and make it a pair of chicks with the dirty mouth on her.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what it is. But it's a lot of fun.
That sounds cool.
Dirty little girl.
Dirty little girls.
No, check that out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of dirty, welcome to episode 110.
That's what this one is.
That's what this one is. Should I just apologize now? I should just apologize now.
No, keep going. We'll continue to spooge all over this thing.
Hey, we've all now recommended books that we were not quite fond of. It happens.
Yeah. I'm feeling really guilty. I really am because
let's talk about what it is.
Well, yeah. What book are we doing?
So these poor bastards.
Is this like Voldemort, the book that shall not be named?
No, we'll call it. This is Deadpool Max Nutjob, and it's the first volume of the Deadpool Max. This was my whole logic behind this. Is I felt like it was a book that by itself could be read without reading other stuff in the series. Maya had a different book that he likes, the Deadpool, that we're probably going to argue over here in a little bit. But this had a similar vibe to my favorite run. It's not my favorite run. It's not my favorite author. And rereading it now, it doesn't hold up. I think the second volume is probably actually better, but it's a 2-book volume thing, and we didn't want to do that. And they definitely, if it's like this, they definitely would have hated me if I made them read 2 books instead of 1, for sure. So I'm apologizing right now. So we may not be recommending you actually read this book, so you may just want to listen to us lambast it. That's pretty much what's probably going to happen. To be fair, as a forewarning, when we hate books, they're some of the funnier episodes. So it's still pretty enjoyable.
Stick with it, dear listeners.
Yes. So, like, I'm just warning you now. You may not want to read the book, but the episode's probably going to be pretty funny. That's kind of just how this tends to work out.
Or if you read the book, don't blame us.
Yeah, or take this.
You've been warned.
Yeah, or you
have been warned.
But yeah, so
Maya bought it, so you don't have to.
I can return it.
You got it from the library.
I checked it out from the library.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm apologizing up front. So hey, I'm Brian. I'm a sound designer based in Southern California. I'm sound designing a bunch of stuff at Utah at the old Lyric Rep. I'm doing a bunch of stuff other places I can't talk about. And yeah, I actually had a meeting with the director of that video game that is perpetually in
development.
So
how is it? Movement there? Is it like watching grass grow?
Like from what I heard today, that they want to try to do a start testing, adjusting this summer with a hopefully early release. For a little influx of cash. Earlier this year, and then do a full release later this year. I guess like somehow during the summer.
That sounds like some Duke Nukem 3000 bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that if they get, they're gonna start shopping around to a publisher, and if they get a publisher, then the publisher will pay for the influx of cash, and then then that way they won't do like a pre-release; they'll just do the full release. And so that's sort of the game plan. So the pre-release is just a way of trying to get a little more money to finish off the game. That may or may not happen. That's what's going on right now with it. But
I'd just be curious as the time's going on, is that engine, whatever they're using for the graphics, starting to...
Oh, no, it's already updated, and they've already broken everything a couple times. So we've updated it a couple times.
Okay.
So we're using an Unreal system, which is pretty standard. But the cool thing about Unreal is that you can download and play with it right now if you wanted to. If you had a computer to handle it. It's... But the problem is, they actually. I was talking to them. They just updated the most recent version, and it broke a bunch of stuff in their game. So,
all right.
But anyway, that's enough about me. And the first time I've ever introduced myself first, which is feeling really strange. But man who never comes first, we have Mr. Adam.
There's a long discussion I can go into about that, but I will not.
Did I just get silence out of Adam? I was almost kind of happy about that.
You did.
That was great.
Yeah, that rarely happens.
I speechless Adam. Hooray!
Woo! No, there was a lot going through my mind. I just decided not to get that personal. This isn't Cinema Queens. Hey, what's up, everyone? Adam. I'm the reviews editor and film critic for Big Shiny Robot. Also getting back together with Andy on the Bored as Hell podcast.
Hi, Andy.
Of course, here on the Funny Books and Firewater podcast, and then over on Cinema Queens with our good friend Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And then also curating our Grinder Scruff and Tights with a Z account.
Awesome. Our star poster child for Tights, it is Mr. Maya.
Hey.
Hi, it's Mr. Maya. Still have a headache. It's lasted a whole week at this point.
God damn.
Surely we're not recording 2 episodes in the same day. That would never happen.
Surely.
If you're in Salt Lake City, come see me at Dr. Volt's Comics, 2043 East, 3300 South. We're open 7 days a week, and we're awesome. Free Comic Book Day was a success, because that was in the past, and I can see the future. Catch me on Twitter at Mr. Maya or Instagram at the Mr. Maya.
That actually reminds me, Mr. Maya, I'm planning on, when I'm in Utah, I think my nieces and nephews are going to be out there as well. I'm going to bring them into the Dr. Bolt's one day when you're working to help them pick out some books.
Awesome. I'm going to gatekeep the shit out of them.
You bastard.
Thank you.
The funny thing, I took my mom to New York Comic Con, and all she did was buy comic books to send back to her grandkids. It was great. So my nieces and nephews are being inundated with comic books from their grandmother, but books are being picked up by their uncle. So I'm feeling pretty proud.
Your mom is the OG geek.
She totally is. She totally is. Yeah,
it's a great thing.
Yeah,
it's a compliment, Mom.
Yeah, well, she didn't listen to the show, thank God.
I know.
She listened to our other show.
Good. Which she should have listened to this one.
Yeah. Speaking of our other show, the other show that Todd and I do, it's Todd. That was a terrible introduction. Hey, speaking of our other show, Todd. Hey, what the fuck am I doing? I'm off. Say hey, Todd.
So hey, this is Todd. You find me here on Funny Books and Firewater. I also do English Class Hooligans with Brian and my better half, Amy.
Hi, better half.
Hey, better half.
Hi, Amy.
So that's going on there, and I hang around. I show up on Dr. Volts on occasion. I am just in Salt Lake. If you see me, say hi, and I will do a very good job of looking you blankly in the face going, what? Also, I do want to bring up, while we're still introducing people, we had a guest on 2 weeks ago now.
It would have been last month's episode, but yeah.
Last month.
It would have been 2 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Andrew, thank you. That was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, sorry. This show. I thought you were talking about the hooligans. Yes.
Oh, I know. Yeah, sorry, this show.
Yeah,
but
no,
Andrew was on Funny Books, and I had a really good time with that. And it was great. So thank you.
We did make him blush a couple times.
We did. It was a good time.
So,
it was cute.
I was talking to Jess about that episode. She's like, how'd the episode go? I'm like, we have this comic book expert on the show, and Adam's sitting in the corner making dick jokes. Like, that was basically what the episode was.
That's right. And then I do the dildo line. Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Is that a challenge?
It is.
Challenge accepted.
Sometimes it's a good thing I don't live in the same state as y'all. It would just be dangerous. Cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, but I will be in the same state next month. So
yes.
It's gonna be chaos. It's gonna be messy. But cool. So so diving back into this. So
wait, did you just say it's gonna be chaos and messy?
Yeah.
You just described this book.
I did.
And you also described what's gonna happen later tonight when Clark gets here.
Woo-hoo!
Hi, Clark.
Hi, Clark.
Anyway, so Maya, the Max. Do they still publish the Max line?
All right.
I was asking Maya if they still publish the Max line.
Very rarely.
Okay. So, but has it always been kind of a rare thing? Because it felt like for a little while they were trying to do a few more of them. But
yeah, I mean, for a while they did like a Wolverine Max. Most of everything but Punisher, I don't think really lasted more than 12 issues. They just did a Max book called Punisher the Platoon. Garth Ennis coming back to Punisher, and it was like Vietnam era Frank Castle.
Okay.
Garth Ennis just loves his war stories.
Yeah.
He's really been into those recently, yeah.
But yeah, no, the Max books, the only real Max book that I've read regularly was the second Punisher Max book that Jason Aaron did. If you've listened to Geek Show, he read part of it. It was Uncle Carrie's Rapey Time stories.
Rapey Fun Time stories.
But yeah, the Max books typically aren't my thing.
Yeah. And if
so, what is the point of them for those who don't know?
It's their mature line.
Yeah.
Okay.
It lets them use swears and have sex and maybe a little bit more violent, or maybe a little bit more realistic violence as opposed to comic violence.
All right.
When it started, when it was just called Alias, when Brian Bendis introduced Jessica Jones, that was a Max book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was.
But I haven't read that, so I can't.
Oh, we read it on the show. I've actually read all 4 of the original trades. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, so this book was the Deadpool, sort of the toe into the water of the Max series.
It's not toe in the water. It's a full on half of the Max series.
Yeah. Well, no, it's about a third of it, but yeah. So this was about as long as it ran. From my understanding, and maybe I misunderstood this, my understanding was they did the first 5 issues that are in this book, 6 issues, whatever it is.
Yeah, it ran for 12 issues total. There's 6 in this book. This is half of the series.
Really? Because then I thought they did this 6, and then they did like the second one, and then because I have 2 other.
I could be wrong. I thought it was just 12. Let me look.
I thought this was like a first run by itself, and then I thought they did the 12 run was the second one.
Oh, they did a Deadpool Max 2.
Yeah. So
that's a separate second series.
Maybe that one was actually good.
It might have been actually.
Is that the one that you read originally? Because
I have them both, and I might have fonder memories for the second series than these. But like I said before, my logic was I thought it was something that kind of could stand on its own without having stuff like tied in, and I remember it being better than it is.
But any of the volume 1s, anything that says volume 1 is good. So like Daniel Way's volume 1, you don't need to know anything. Jerry Duggan, Dead Presidents, you don't need to know anything previous.
Okay, so here's we'll get into this in a minute, but like I'm fine with Jerry Duggan. I hate the stuff with Brian Posehn. I hate it.
That's all the same. That's the same book.
Well, no, Duggan is writing it now by himself. Posehn wrote with him for a while, and then Duggan's been writing it just by himself. I've been fine with him by himself. It was all the books with Posehn on it. I fucking hated that run. And I read all of it because that's the only character I consistently read is Deadpool. And I read all of it, and it really annoyed me. But that's a totally different issue. My personal view, and we'll go into my recommendations at the end. If you're going to read Deadpool, the Way run is my favorite. By far my favorite. I think that's the most fun. I think it has the closest. If you also are interested in Deadpool because of the movies, the Way run is closer to what you were looking for. That's kind of the vibe, the cartoony, self-aware kind of thing. The issue I have with the Pochane stuff is that it starts trying to go really weird places just for the sake of a lame joke, whereas I felt like the meandering sort of slapsticky randomness that happens to work out in the end, kind of almost like a Looney Tunes kind of thing. Way was much better at doing that, and I felt like they lost that with the Pochane stuff.
And see, I feel the exact same way, but about the opposite books.
Really?
That's how I felt about the first 3 Way trades, and I know we're not talking about that book, but the first 3 Way trades, I really like, up through the one where he tries to join the X-Men. I can't remember the name of that story.
Okay. I think it's called X-Baby is what the trade is called.
After that, the thing I really don't like about Deadpool that they kind of dropped off after the Wade stuff is the multiple voices in his head. That's something that it's something I didn't care for.
See, and I actually really like that because I like the weird arguments between the different logics in his own brain, which I thought was really interesting. Because the other thing I found out semi-recently, and I've been reading it for a while, and I just barely recently, because I've been reading Deadpool for like 10 years, and I finally just realized that in the Way's run, one of the voices in his head is when Slapstick got absorbed into his head. Yep. So it's actually the character Slapstick is one of the voices. I didn't realize that at the time.
Yeah, that was in the Duggan and Posehn stuff that they revealed that, right? I think so.
I think so, or I more realized it when I was reading the Deadpool Inc. stuff when they had Slapstick as a separate character, and they mentioned it somewhere in there that he had been in Deadpool's head or something like that. So
let's talk about the worst. Let's talk about the one that we're supposed to.
The one that we all suffered through.
The one we all suffered through. But to help ease the suffering, let's start out with the drinking game.
And now for sports.
Listen up, sports fans. Prepare yourself and your liver for this week's drinking game. Remember, it's only a game, and a dumb one at that. So don't take it too seriously, and above all else, please drink responsibly.
My drinking game rule is called What About Bob, which is every time Bob gets hurt, take a drink, which is going to be a lot. Mr. Maya, what is your drinking game rule?
Mine, I'm going to quote our good friend Eric Cartman and say, fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck, fuck. Anytime someone says fuck or a version of fuck, like fucking or fucker, take a drink.
Mr. Todd.
Spooge on the page. So anytime you're going through the artwork and it looks like someone just had spooged on the page and the colorist was going, hey, color this shit in. You need to take a drink.
Okay. And Mr. Adam.
Mine's a little bit similar to Maya's. It's called Aren't You Fucking Edgy? Anytime there's something in the book that you could tell they threw in just because they could get away with it in a Max title, but wasn't necessary, that was just gratuitous, take a drink. Because fuck this book.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. Well, we may not need to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to go into votes.
No. There's your vote.
Done.
Yeah. Wait. Someone else has an opinion.
Such foul language. Oh my gosh.
Fuck.
Pork, I can't believe you're saying all this. That's horrible.
I didn't teach him that.
He learned his language from from Groot.
You speak Groot?
Yes, it was an elective.
Anyway, okay, well, this is the time where normally we take a break. And we say you can go read the book if you want, but we're going to say we're going to take a little break because should we just not take a break at all? Should we just plow through? Should this be the first episode without the intermission?
Take the break.
For anyone that may want to read it.
Okay.
And we can ask the question.
And if you do, you're wrong.
And I looked it up. There wasn't a Deadpool Max 2. It looks like it was just the one.
That's so weird because we'll have to get to the bottom of it because it's weird the way it's laid out because it's like this first one has it's sort of like its own individual rambling thing. And then it jumps into the other one actually has sort of a storyline that goes through the 2 books. So that's why I'm kind of curious as to what's going on with it. But eventually we shall figure it all out. But so we're going to take a little bit of a break. You can read it if you want.
I don't know why.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to be flailing myself this entire episode. So anyway, that's how it goes.
Flagellation. Yes.
Flagellation makes things happen. Yeah. Anyway, so you can pause it if you want. You can plow on through. You can listen to us rant and rave about how much we hate it. I'm sure Adam will be very entertaining.
Gonna make Brian pick up more rosary beads and pennants.
Yeah,
rosary anal beads.
That's right.
Remember,
I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be like some weird, crazy priest in a Dan Brown book that's just like beating myself up while I'm staring.
now
at
remember,
great
kids,
art.
when you remove the anal beads, you don't pull them out like you're starting a lawnmower.
I read a letter in Maxim magazine that was like that once.
You
It's like,
read a letter in Maxim magazine.
when the guy was like, me and my girlfriend decided to try anal beads, but no one specified how fast to remove them. All I'll say is there was a lot of noise and a big mess.
And you know what? That's probably more enjoyable than reading this book.
And a very typical comment for this book, guys.
And I was wrong again. I did a little further research, actually looking on our retailer site, and there was a Deadpool Max 2, but that was only 6 issues. So if you have 3 trades, that's why.
I fucking don't know what's going on. Okay.
That's right.
You okay, honey?
Once again, the book.
My head's spinning. I'm like, I have these books. I know they exist. I don't know which order they're supposed to be
It's
in.
probably one of those like Bernstein Bears things.
It's all episodic.
The last half of the first Max series is Involuntary Armageddon, and then Deadpool Max 2, which is by itself, is called Second Cut.
That's what it is. Okay, so volume 2 that I have is part of this guy, and then there's the third book I have is actual number 2. Okay, that adds up. Okay.
So the third is the second?
But not the first.
So,
No.
to be honest with you,
the first
I
is the
think
first and the third. They're both volume 1s.
Right. So the third one is a volume 1, but it is the second of the series.
strike that, reverse it.
1, 2, 5, 3. So 3.
Marvel, you need to fucking figure things out.
Yeah, they do. Their shit's a mess right now.
I will say I have fonder memories of Involuntary Armageddon, which is actually book 2, but no one on this panel is going to bother to read it.
I think we can get Adam to read War Drums again first.
I might actually skip the movie now.
It can't have been that bad.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to skip the movie because the movie actually was good.
The first one was.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll see you in a minute.
That's right.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
sorry.
If you have yet to read this week's book and would like to read it now, press pause. Go ahead. We'll wait.
No, the ranting episodes are always the most fun. I feel bad for causing it, but they are the most
Well,
fun.
no, it's funny because I was picking up Eddie and Chris called and we were driving back and he's like, "Oh, how was recording?" Because he called me about something in the middle of recording, and I told him, Lando was great because it was fun, but like there wasn't much to talk about because it's a really basic book. Like, oh, but this bitch coming up, oh, we're gonna have fun with that. he's like, oh, really? And I told him, he's like. Is that fun? I'm like, oh, there's nothing better than hating and just everyone group hating on like a really bad comic or movie.
What's really bad is when 3 of you hate a book and 1 likes it.
Yeah.
Like I told him like the worst one we ever read was Bobobo. And he's like, what is that? It's like I told him the synopsis, and then he Googled it, and he's like, oh, this can't be real. I'm like,
but Carrie and Shannon love Bobobo.
But that's what I was saying was apparently the anime is.
But do they like the anime though? The thing is, I think most people who like Bobobo like the anime. The manga doesn't make any fucking sense because they didn't publish it in America until issue like 65.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's the start of Bobobo. It's
So
awful.
Basically, I said to enjoy Bobobo the manga, you have to have an extra chromosome.
Or you have to be stoned out of your fucking gourd.
Fucking book.
Are we back from break now?
Back from the
Yeah, let's call that.
Did you guys read the book?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Did the people?
If you did, we're disappointed in you.
You shouldn't have.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Don't you know better now?
Yeah, okay.
Mea culpa.
Do we even
Brian.
want to
Let's mea culpa.
I'm sorry.
That makes me think of a really dirty Catholic priest joke.
Yeah, aren't they all really
Are
dirty?
the clean priest jokes?
Is this a joke that Baron Zemo would approve of?
Probably. It involves molesting children.
Well, no, because you mentioned Catholic priest joke. Baron Zemo in this book.
Is he Catholic?
No.
Oh, no, I know what you know. I was like, what does that do with the Catholic Church?
Adam already expunged it from his memory.
Okay, well, let's just jump in. Let's not even summarize
All
it.
right, let's just jump into grades, guys.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so obviously people who listen to this podcast or know me in person know I have a very blue sense of humor. I don't censor myself, and I say some of the most fucked up and horrible things in the world. However, they're actually funny for most of the time, and they mainly have a point. My biggest problem with this book is, like I said with my drinking game, was they're doing shit just because they can. Like,
it's called the Mark Miller effect.
so I have the same problem with movies too. Like if you have an R-rated movie that's got that's raunchy, full of sex, and got all the swearsies, if it's well done, that's fine. But if you're like, oh, we can say fuck as many times as we want just because we're an R-rated movie, then it's not funny anymore. And all this book was is like, oh, let's open up and make, oh, haha, look at this. This guy's getting raped. He's not really gay, and he's getting beaten up the whole time. That's not funny or interesting. It's not even, it wasn't even done well. Oh, let's have sex jokes. Let's show titties. Let's have Deadpool say titties. Let's cut someone's head off or do all this stupid shit. That again, if it was integral to the plot, of which there was like none. It was like every single one. There's like there's some tie-ins towards the end, but it was like every single issue was like, oh, we're just doing something different and we're telling a different story. There was no, I don't know. It's just it pissed me off because.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what are you saying?
I was just saying that there was no cohesive story.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't mind if you have standalone comic issues. That's happened before too. But even those, there'll be some kind of story arc that's weaving through them, even if it's just touched on briefly. That it's there,
and it may all come together in volume 2. I won't know because I won't read it. Because we have the whole Hydra Bob talking to Hydra or whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever he's reporting to. But if I was reading this in issues, I would have dropped it off by issue 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'll always give something 2 or 3 issues to see how it is. Because something that can take 2 or 3 for the writers to get their groove or get the story going. But none of that had that. So it was just dirty for the sake of being dirty. It didn't have any reason to really be there. And as I was talking with Maya, he reminded me that, this Deadpool, generally speaking, isn't this type of. He's not like the Deadpool from the movie. He's much more PG-13ish.
Yeah, we were talking about before the Deadpool movie came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Deadpool needs to be vulgar and blah 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 and this and that," and that's how the movie turned out. And I do like the movie, but that's not how Deadpool is in the comics.
Yeah.
It brings up a while ago. I think on Geek Show there was a discussion about how Wolverine or how they were talking about how a Wolverine movie needs to be extra violent and this and that. And Wolverine, yeah, he's violent, but he's not like chopping people's heads off left and right. And he usually wounds, except for like the ninja stories. He usually isn't killer. It just kind of reminded me of that maybe people's head canons of characters aren't what they think it is. Another example of that, I found a paper that was written last year about Captain Kirk in Star Trek. And it was called Kirk Drift, where everyone has this memory that Captain Kirk is this womanizing, guy that fucks all the alien. Go watch original series. That's not Kirk. I think that to me, this book seemed like it's what people's headcanon of Deadpool was, and
Yeah, because the only Deadpool, I never really read much Deadpool. The only thing I read, because I did have the graphic novel of Dead Presidents. That was the first one I read. And that one, I would say it's probably if I were to rate it, it would be like a hard PG-13, maybe a light R, because I was just kind of flipping through some pages online with it. Because there was some violence and everything else. But it was super funny, and it really got across Deadpool's like sense of humor and like how he's the way that, what makes him an endearing character. And this one, I just didn't give a shit. I was like, I don't find this interesting. It's not funny. There's just no redeeming values here, and it's rare that I get done reading the book, even with like War Drums, which I didn't like that at all.
Right.
I saw where they were going. When we got to the actual War Games,
there was a point.
And you understood why they did it. There's no point here. And as Maya said, maybe it does pay off in the second graphic novel, but I'm never going to fucking read it because this is a goddamn piece of shit, and the people who are involved with this should be punched in the genitals while being forced to read blah blah blah. Cunts.
I wish I had defense for this, but I don't. I really don't. I think that in my memory, I think that maybe the second one or the third one is better. I think also I might have read this early. Like, how sometimes you read something early on when you're start reading comics and you don't necessarily, like, I feel like my taste has become more
discerning.
That was the word I was trying to think of. Thank you. Discerning. The more I've been, the word that kept coming to my mind was demeaning, but like that's kind of appropriate, but not. But like I think because of all the stuff we've read here and the variety of things we've started reading, I think I've also read a greater variety because of this show. I've become more discerning, and I think there's certain things where it's sort of like, actually, no, there's a perfect example. There was a TV show, like a movie or something like that I watched as a kid that I had fond memory of, which I thought was really great at the time, which was called, I don't know if anybody remember this, Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme. Does anyone remember this at all? It's just me.
No.
What was it called again?
Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme. Had like a bunch of songs. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was, flipping through IMDb, and it had like Harry Anderson because he recently passed, and I remember like, oh yeah, he was in that. So then, I found it on YouTube. So I was trying to watch it last night. It was nearly it's not necessarily nearly unwatchable. Like there were some parts of it I'm like, the music of it's actually better than I would expect it to be. It actually has some cool stuff in it musically, but like the lead actor is fucking awful, like just really, really bad. And I found out his claim to fame is that he was the lead singer of a band that Madonna, before she was famous, was the drummer in. Who knew?
What?
Yeah, he dated her for a little while too. The guy he plays Gordon Goose. He only has like 2 or 3 acting credits, but he was the band was called like Breakfast Club, I think, or something like that. And he was it was really bizarre. But like he ended up dating Shelley Duvall after they made Mother Goose Rockin' Around for a little while. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I thought this was better, and it doesn't really hold up at all. And I'm kind of was hoping it would be better, but it's just not there, man. It's just not.
No, it's not. Shame on you.
I'm sorry.
I want to know there's certain things in it that might have been easier to read. This came out in like 2010, 2011, by the way. But like, I had a real rough time reading that Baron Zemo issue, especially with like all the shit that's going on now.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's the whole point. Look, you can have Baron Zemo in here being like basically a crazy racist Nazi and everything, but you don't need it to go to the levels they needed to prove that he's like, he's like, you didn't need to see all the severed heads of the Jews or like the lampshade that was made from the skin of a person like Auschwitz.
Yeah.
That was like, it's something that one of my favorite authors is Chuck Palahniuk. And he has this tendency, and I haven't read some of his newer stuff, so maybe he's kind of stopped doing it, where he would talk about something that's really gross or disgusting, and then spend the next 3 pages going to in-depth details. Stephen King does it with, like, in his old books, like when he's talking about sex. He would, like, spend 3 pages talking about how the guy's balls were bouncing against her pussy. Well, I was like, I don't need to see that. If I want to watch porn, I'll just go on Tumblr and look something there.
What book was that?
It was the
notebook out going, I need to write this down.
And actually, it was a good book too.
Was that about the orgy scene in It?
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, like that. Yeah, I didn't see.
That's one of the weirdest plot points ever, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what they did with this book, and it just any kind of redeeming quality it could have possibly had was just completely detracted from that. And yeah, the Baron Zemo issue was just fucking horrible. It's like I don't need to be reminded that this guy's a horrible person when I have literal neo-Nazis in the street marching him down calling for genocide. So
yeah.
As an example of something handled a bit better in like Django Unchained, is you have the whole KKK come out and whatnot, and there's funny little bits in there. But they're still horrible people with slave owners and that whole bit. But I think Tarantino had a much more deft, restrained hand than what happened.
It sounds
here.
Weird to say that Tarantino was restrained.
Tarantino and restrained are only 2 words that do not go in the same sentence.
Right. But it really was here. I'm really curious on like the editorial staff here on this book was going and thinking and going, no, this is great shit. Do more like this.
Maybe they were high.
Maybe. I don't know. It's like, oh, it's Max, so we can have explicit content. And maybe that was the entirety of it, and be random because it's Deadpool.
I think my favorite interpretation of the KKK is Blazing Saddles.
And for my next impersonation, Jesse Owens.
Hey,
I also like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou as well.
Where are the white women at? Oh, boys!
There's just so much about
Watch
this.
me, faggot.
Oh, Jesus.
Everything seems, oh, well, that shit's funny. That's good enough. Let's move on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's really not good.
The only thing I can say in defense is I think that there were basic ideas in here that may have been interesting, but that
it needs so many
were not
rewrites.
executed well.
That's like saying that Hitler had nice paintings.
Well, yeah, but and maybe if someone had said that, we wouldn't have had the other problems we ended up doing if someone supported our career.
I like how Eddie Izzard was talking about how
I can't quite get the trees.
I can't quite get to fuck it, I could kill everyone.
But
because he was a mass murdering fuckhead.
Yeah. But the thing is, so Deadpool beating up the KKK, okay, that sounds like a fun episode, but then they didn't execute it well.
Right.
Young Deadpool as a Cub Scout who a mercenary recruits him, and he gets merit badges for doing horrible things. Kind of a funny idea, but not executed.
Oh, Cub Scout.
What did you think?
Sorry. Cum Scout.
That's the one that I went to.
Adam got it.
That's the one I went
Adam,
to.
do you get merit badges? Because if you do, I want to see your sash.
It's kind of crusty.
I'm sure it is.
It doesn't bend very well anymore.
I bet you could market a gay merit badge, like gay merit badges for different things.
He became a spread eagle scout.
Well, and that merit badge and tying knots is really good for the BDSM scene.
There you go. Join the Order of the Dildo.
The Fraternal Order of the Dildo.
I'm subtitling this episode "Spread Eagle Scout."
And that shit was better than what was in the book.
Yes, that 5 minutes of our discussion just now literally was better than anything you possibly could have read in this fucking book.
I'm sorry.
You know what? I don't even know if alcohol will make it better, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Because I do have a drink to go along with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called a screw loose, because that's what you have to be to read this, have to enjoy this book. You take a highball glass, fill it with ice. You add in 1 ounce of vodka, 1 ounce of slow gin, 1 ounce of Southern Comfort, and then top with freshly squeezed orange juice. You stir and garnish with an orange wedge.
I'm sorry, I heard slow gin. I remembered my joke from last episode. Anyway, my cocktail is called the Hail Hydra, which I was going to give it for the Hydra Bob, but whatever. It is 2 ounces of rye, 3/4 ounce of Campari, 3/4 ounce of blood orange juice, 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of pomegranate molasses, 1/2 teaspoon of rose water, blood orange peel for garnish optional. Combine all the ingredients into a shaker with ice, shake the shit out of it, strain into a chill coupe glass or double rocks glass. You'll need something that holds at least 4 ounces, and you garnish as desired. Mr. Todd, do you have a cocktail?
So this one is like you start at the name, then you work yourself backwards and going, hey, that's a cool name. So let's come up with a drink for that name.
Okay.
And it goes with this Deadpool Max explicit content.
Okay.
And I've had this in the back pocket for a while, and I'm throwing it in with this, but the name of the drink is called the Vanilla Ice.
Okay.
So what you need is 3 double shot glasses, and you put a shot of Ice 101 and a shot of Smirnoff vanilla vodka, a 1-to-1 ratio, and then you proceed to hit that 3 times in a row. And that is the only way reading this will be any good, because you're going to be too busy barfing, because that shit is nasty. And you'll have a better time than reading this book.
So you're doing 3 sets of 2 shots, right? So you're doing 6 shots?
Yes.
So you actually only need 2 shot glasses.
No, it's a double shot glass. So it's a shot. So in each shot glass is 1 shot worth of vanilla vodka with 1 shot worth of Ice 101.
Okay, so
schnapps.
3 of them all combined. Okay.
Right, 3 all combined. So it's vanilla along with the peppermint schnapps with the vanilla. It's like, oh, it's the Vanilla Ice. Nasty ass shit. I mean, it's only something a white guy with, trimmed eyebrow something would go with. It's terrible.
When did you drink this?
Oh, it was college.
Oh. Mr. Maya, do you have a cocktail for us?
Yeah, so my cocktail it's not even really a cocktail, it's a drink.
Okay.
It's more for you to drink after you read this book.
Uh-huh.
Just get yourself a liter of Everclear so you can wipe this fucking book from your memory. That's all.
Okay.
Just Everclear.
Just Everclear.
You know what I'm going to name that? I'm going to name that Everclear Take Me Away. Like the old Calgon ad, which do they even still have Calgon ads?
I don't even know what that is.
Calgon was it was the pre-bath bomb, and it was one of those things where if you stayed at home sick from school and your mom let you watch Price is Right, you would sometimes see ads for Calgon. It was some woman who had a stressful day and she was in the bathtub, and the line was, "Calgon, take me away."
Would the doctor care for a brandy before retiring? Some warm milk, perhaps? Ovaltine. Ovaltine. Good night, Frau Blucher.
Yep.
We're on a Mel Brooks kick today.
We are. That happens. I have a friend at work who believes that you can't go a day without quoting at least Star Wars and or Mel Brooks, which is pretty true.
Well, that's actually the fun thing is when we go. It's been a long time since we've been down there, but when we visit Eddie's dad in Texas, 90% of our conversation is quoting Mel Brooks movies or classic comedies like the movie Clue or Murder by Death.
I love that movie.
Yeah, they're remaking it, and I can't remember who's
Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is playing the Tim Curry version.
Speaking of Deadpool,
yeah, we're good at our job. I'll be interested to see if they're going to do the same way they did with the original one, because the original one had 3 endings,
right?
And
gave it to different theaters.
They gave it to different theaters, so it wasn't until it actually came out on VHS that they showed all 3 endings, because people didn't. I mean, obviously people went and saw it again. They could, oh, it's a different ending. So I'll be interested to see if they do that this time. So
that could be a lot. With Netflix, I heard someone else talk about this, but the idea with Netflix, I wonder if there can be like a choose your own adventure show being put together, and you can kind of make that decision.
There was a movie, and I can't remember who. It was a really famous director. I don't think it was Martin Scorsese. It might have been David Fincher. Where basically, every single time you went and saw it, it would be a different experience because he had the thing set up to where you could edit and change things in the film real time based on like audience reactions. I'll still go look it up, but it was like I didn't even get to go see it, but I heard it was a really kind of fun experience.
So I had a statement that I made to both Todd and Adam earlier.
Now you have to subject me to it.
I hated this book more than I hated Nia Namaka.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is my least favorite book that I've read since I've been on the show.
What's been your least favorite book you've ever read?
Probably this one.
This might be
it.
Oh, actually, just 2 days ago, Fox announced they are basing a movie on Choose Your Own Adventure, and when you go in the movie, you would download an app on your phone, and at certain points in the movie, the audience will vote on what they want to have happen next, or what direction you want the character to go, and it'll change the movie.
Inside a theater, they're encouraging people to have their phones out. I'm not sure I can get behind
Did you see that bullshit happening here? So, for those not in Utah...
I shared it.
Yeah, Hamilton is playing here, and it's like sold out every single night. I mean, tickets are going for like $1,000. And the guy who plays Hamilton tweeted out, he's like, "Hey, Salt Lake City, could you please not use your phones during like the performances because it's really rude. We can see."
On the Sunday matinee, a lot of people were checking the Utah Jazz
game.
Score.
They were losing to the Rockets.
And my rule is you never read the comments, but I had friends share it and be like, these people are asinine because people are on there saying like, well, maybe your play just is overhyped, not very good, and plus it's the Jazz game going on right now. And like, who the fuck cares? Leave your phone out, check during intermission.
That's right.
I hate people.
Yeah.
Yet I love gatherings.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Yes. Also one of my favorite movies of all time. So
I haven't watched that in a while. I'm hoping it holds up.
I think we're actually going to do Chasing Amy for Cinema Queens.
Well, if you do it, I want on that show. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan.
No, we'll totally have you on there as long as you can hang with the cum dumpsters.
I can hang with the cum dumpsters.
You should do a double feature of Chasing Amy and Yoga Hosers.
Oh, no, don't
I've
do
never
it to
seen Yoga
yourself.
Hosers.
Yoga Hosers isn't as bad as Tusk, but it's not great.
I'm excited because I'm exposing Chris to John Waters for the first time. We're doing Pink Flamingos this weekend.
Wow.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
But it's divine.
And the gift only a mother can give.
That's gross.
And the dancing asshole.
Is that the one with Chatterbox?
You call that a fuck?
No, that's the one where Divine eats the piece of dog shit at the end.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else
Which
to say
is
about this
better
thing?
than this book.
Yeah, it's less disgusting and annoying than reading this book.
I'd rather lay my dick out on a table and smash it with a tack hammer than read this book again.
So my question is, and not knowing, and Maya, I'm looking at you.
Oh, God.
What has David Lapham written that sucks?
That wasn't shitty.
Because we're just shit on this.
It's a name that I've seen around.
I gotta pull it right here.
Stray Bullets, I know, is like, I think that's his big book right now. I haven't read it. I don't know it. And I gotta wait for my computer to come back.
He did WWF Battlemania.
I don't know what that is.
Back in '91. He did a small run on Detective Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Stray Bullets, yeah. He did some Daredevil vs. Punisher, 1-6. Giant Size Wolverine, Spider-Man with a Great Power arc, 1 issue. Yeah, he's done
a little bit here and there.
And then he did all of the Deadpool Max, and then he did a one-shot of Punisher Max. Oh, he did Age of Apocalypse 1-14, like the new one they did.
That series wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't. I tried to get back into it, and I would love to do Age of Apocalypse on this, but we don't have time for that because that's like.
Well, they have it split up into 4 books, even though they're big books.
It is.
They're. Huh?
You've got Legion Quest.
There are 4 books that are about the same size as. You don't need Legion Quest. All you need to know is Professor X is dead.
Yeah.
There are 4 books that are about the same size as each of the War Games books.
Yeah, because it's a lot of shit.
That's a big book.
That'd be like a year-long endeavor.
Sure. All right. I was just trying to do something to save Mr. Lapham's. He did something here.
Yeah, I'm looking. He did some Astonishing X-Men.
So stuff that's less awful. One would hope.
I don't know those issues, so I can't tell.
Right. I mean, but it sounds like he keeps working a bit here and there.
Oh, yeah.
So one would have hope. But I don't understand the point of this book. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And I'm very lenient on most books. Usually if a book isn't good, I can usually still find something to like. I didn't find anything to like in this.
No.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Okay. So, grades. Are we going to do that?
Jamie, school is never a waste of time.
Since we have 15 minutes until recess, please put down your pencils and stare at the front of the room.
It's report card time. It's report card time. It's report card time. I'm so fucking fun.
God, please, no! 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 No!
So for writing, for David Lapham, what is your grade, Mr. Maya?
F.
Okay.
I don't need to say anymore.
Mr. Todd.
Yeah, fuck this shit. It's an F.
I will agree and give it an F. Mr. Adam, do I dare ask?
F. If I could give it like a G, I would. But
okay, so G for Mr. Adam.
If you have to ask what that is, you don't get one.
You can't afford it.
That's right.
Yeah. For art, however, for Kyle Baker, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
F. I hated the art in this. There's nothing redeeming about this book. Like, it's literally up there with Bobo, where like, well, I'm gonna be like, okay, this was bad? Was it as bad as Deadpool Max? So fuck this book.
Okay, Mr. Todd.
You know, I'm going to give it a D. There's a lot I really hated about this book, but it wasn't as bad as the writing. I felt like this guy gave more work into it than the writer did. So I'm going to give him a D for effort, but it's not good.
I'm going to give it a C minus. I actually think the art's kind of okay. In the right view, I think it could be okay.
Was it a different colorist or the same? I don't know.
I mean, it's a little overly cartoony at parts, but like,
sure.
Well, I think the art for a different book potentially would be okay. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to totally write off the art. I actually, there are certain parts of it that I thought were actually okay.
It's all right. So just list Kyle Baker as the artist, and there's a letterer that's separate, and the lettering was But really, so the editor and the assistant editor.
There was an editor?
Axel Alonso and Sebastian Gerner.
So Axel Alonso was the former editor-in-chief that just got let go. He was the editor on the X-Books for a while, and in my opinion, he's probably most of the reason why Marvel is such a fucking mess right now.
Fuck you, Axel Alonso. You allowed this to come out? Oh, editor-in-chief. It listed it right there. Everyone should take a shame.
Was he just the editor-in-chief, or was he the...
It said editor and then editor-in-chief.
Okay, so yeah, okay. So he actually edited the book.
He edited the book, and it was editor-in-chief. This is something you probably flipped. He's like, yeah, that's good enough.
Or, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. You're taking...
Or, hey, it's edgy. People will either buy it or they won't.
I bet Trump likes this book.
Probably.
It's the most beautiful...
He identifies with Baron Zemo.
He does.
Yeah, they got a raw deal, didn't they?
I'll give my grade for art.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
I actually really like Kyle Baker. I've seen him on a bunch of stuff. He did this really awesome run of, it was like a mini-series or 12 issues or so of Plastic Man in the early 2000s.
All right.
And I've always kind of liked his style. He has a really unique style, so I'm going to give it a C.
Okay, well, so for overall, I guess, dare we say. Mr. Todd, what is your overall grade?
Fuck this shit. So it's an F.
Mr. Adam?
You know, somehow, despite hating the writing and hating the art, just the sum of the parts is more. I'm at an A minus. No, F. Fuck this book. Why? This is like, again, like I said before, this is the new standards. This and Bobo as far as, well, I didn't hate it as much as Deadpool Max. So.
Which did you hate more?
Bobo.
Oh, okay.
No, Bobo, to this day, I still have no fucking clue what I read. I have no goddamn idea. And I was as much as I hated this one, I was literally hate reading every page in Bobo because it was like 200 pages. And it was just pissing me the fuck off.
I feel dizzy every time I try to start to figure out what the plot of Bobo was. Like, I just can't do it.
Sorry, you can't see what's going on.
Don't make Dante give you a blowjob. That's not nice. At least bring up the peanut butter.
Are for. Just grab right on.
I'm gonna tell Chris what you're doing. That's like his favorite thing in the world.
Good for him.
Like, no, every time he comes over here,
his breath smells like Chris.
Every time he comes over here, he will immediately goes over, grabs it, and like cuddles with it the entire time he's here.
We're talking about a stuffed Dante from
Coco.
From Coco, and it's Dante when he's like the spirit animal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got it at the Disney store.
How dare you support such an evil conglomeration? Anybody who works for that company is just evil to the core.
Don't fuck with me, huh?
My overall grade.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your overall grade, Mike?
Since I like the art a little bit better, I'm going to give it a D minus, barely above an F.
Right, but you're not going to hold on to it.
How big of a check did Marvel have to cut you for that one?
Dude, I am rolling in the money right now.
You better be for that.
Second that Mickey dick.
Speaking of second that Mickey dick,
yeah,
I'll give it an F. I don't want to endorse it in any way to make people think they should actually read it. I apologize significantly, and I'm sure I will hear more about this in the future. Although it is no Manny Bothands.
Manny Bothands is so much better than this shit.
Manny Bothands is pure genius.
The man himself.
I'm gonna take that as a quote. Like I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that aside, and I'm gonna just have a quote that says Manny Bothands is genius.
and he died for our sins.
He did. Manny Bothands died for our sins.
Genius or Jesus?
Yes.
Nobody fucks with Jesus.
Nobody fucks with Manny Bothands.
Except for like the Romans.
I texted.
But isn't that kind of?
I saw Bumper Stick the other day, and I texted Adam when I saw it, and I texted him. I said, if I was gay and I had a Latin boyfriend, I would have a bumper sticker that said, real men love Jesus.
That's awesome.
Well, speaking of that real quick, if those of you who heard our Tag and Big podcast and want to check it out, this is now 2 weeks ago at this point. Marvel did re-release it. So if you want it, you can go get it.
Of course.
Oh, good for you.
Hey, I know what I'm getting at him for Christmas.
Deadpool Max 1 and 2.
A Manny Bothands cosplay.
That's right.
We do need to get those shirts made though, because I will rock that.
That'd be awesome.
I'll get a church wearing it.
Don't you set on fire if you step into a church? Don't you step on burst into flames immediately if you try to step into a church?
But I do so fabulously.
That's right.
He turns
it's all about the flare.
He turns into a flaming rainbow. Oh, I guess he already is.
Yeah, when I open my mouth to talk, you can hear this dick in my mouth.
And now it's time for recommendations. That time in the show where the panel tells you all the crap they are currently into, but will forget about as soon as they see something shiny.
You're a stamp tramp.
How dare you? And what is that? You give your stamp of approval to everything. It's become meaningless.
Why can't you be more like your wife? Lily's stamp is gold. I'm reading this book because of her. I'm drinking this beer because she recommended it. I'm even wearing this bra because of a lingerie store Lily told me about.
So recommendations.
Not this book.
Dick's in your mouth.
Dixon, I will always recommend Dick's in your mouth. It's amazing.
I will say that I personally, Maya disagrees with me, but I personally like Daniel Way's run on Deadpool. So if you want to read some decent Deadpool, actually,
I like the first 3 trades. After that,
and actually the first 2 trades I just looked right now on Comixology, they're all unlimited right now. So if you want to get into those, you can get the first 15 issues for free.
The other stuff I actually like is the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I think is fun and interesting. Deadpool Illustrated, which kind of follows up on that a little bit, is really fun as well. Where Deadpool Illustrated is where Deadpool becomes self-aware of the fact that he is a fictional character and he wants to die and commit suicide. So he decides that if he's going to die, he has to never exist. So he has to go and kill any character that may have possibly influenced his creation. So he basically goes through classic literature, killing and maiming and destroying everyone. Like he goes after Huck Finn and Captain Ahab from Moby Dick and all sorts of stuff. It's actually really pretty fun. So those would be the other Deadpool books that I would recommend aside from this. But of course, after having read this book, my opinion is worthless because I remember this one being better than it was. So, take that for a grain of salt.
I'm sorry for recommending.
But the stuff he mentioned is good. I can verify.
Okay. Also, I've also read that more frequently. The other fun, useless fact is if you do read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, issue 3, page 7, I have the original art for, which I'm pretty proud of. Woo-hoo. Yeah, I got it as a birthday present. Well, what was it? Christmas present. Anyway, it was fun.
I was part of that subterfuge.
Yes, I know you were. I know you often are. If I get something cool comic book related, I have a feeling you're a part of the subterfuge that happens to get there.
I think I do a pretty good job of that,
yes,
too.
You do. You're the best wife a guy could have, Todd.
I know.
Todd, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and enjoy some media that is kind of random and funny and classic, you all should go watch Super Troopers, the original one, because I fucking love that movie.
I've heard the second one's not getting great reviews.
So I haven't seen it yet. I would like to go see it, but if it's half as good as the original, it's still funny. So go watch Super Trooper.
I've convinced DJ to do the meow thing for a whole set.
What's that, meow?
Yeah, he did that. Like, Okay, like everybody dance, meow, like just crap like that. It was really fun. And Mr. Adam, do you have any recommendations?
As of right now, I don't. I was trying to think of something, but there's nothing popping to mind.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Maya,
Go see Infinity War. It really needs the help.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it's
It
just
needs-
struggling.
We may not get any more Marvel movies. It is doing so awful. So go
support
see
your
it,
independent
please.
comic book movie.
That's right.
Help Infinity War.
Yes, it needs all that it can get. It needs all of the money.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll put a fork in this one for this week. Next week we are reading.
In the neck.
Yeah.
Put the fork in the neck.
We're finishing up.
oh, actually, no, I did have a recommendation.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're, for the month of June, we're doing Pride Month that we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of looking around trying to find something to read for that. And one of the books we're going to do is called Fogtown.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to pick it up now and have some kind of prep for when that happens, it's out of print, but you can get it on Amazon used for I got mine for like $1.
I got mine
on
what was it? In stock trades for pretty cheap as well.
Okay.
You had asked the other day. You're like, I need to check to see if the writer's queer. Or
Yes.
whatever. He is. He wrote War Games. He wrote most of half of what we read in War Games.
So it's a black and white comic.
Anderson Gabrick,
something like that. Yeah. And the guy who did all the artwork for it, he actually won an Emmy for drawing all of the Spawn animated series back in the 90s.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's a black and white book, takes place in the 50s. You've got it's film noirish, so it's this hard-boiled detective trying to track down this kidnapped girl. There's a serial killer out and loose, and it takes place in San Francisco under the looming threat of McCarthyism and the persecution of homosexuals, the rampant racism. I was back there as well, and I wasn't going to recommend it because they're not afraid to use the N-word or call people faggots or this and that. But I wanted to make sure the writer was queer and he was. So it's really, really good though. I liked it a lot, and I'm really excited for us to read it. So if you want to check it out, it's really cheap if you get it used. But it's one that I really enjoyed, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to read that one as well.
Make America great again, like back then.
I thought it was Make America Gay Again.
Yes. There we go.
On that note, so next week we are going to be finishing up our Merry Marvel movie month of May with, I think I got all those right, with Deadpool, not Deadpool, shit, sorry.
No!
With
Deadpool Max Volume 2.
Yeah, Ant-Man Second Chance Man, which is the relaunch of Ant-Man here. It's Scott Lang. He's Ant-Man. He's sort of trying to start a new life post some work with the Avengers, and he's trying having some problems with his ex-wife and trying to kind of keep in touch with his daughter and his relationship going on there. There is definitely some things in that book that are reminiscent of the Ant-Man film that came out.
And this came out about the same time.
Yeah, they came out about the same time. You can tell they're kind of they're similar ideas at the same time, but it's really fun.
We won't say it on air, but Maya has a prediction for what the end scene in the
we're going to do a talk about the movie, so I'll talk about it then.
Yes. So that'll, I think, we'll do it for us for this week. I'm really, really sorry about Deadpool. Ant-Man will be better. I can almost guarantee it because it couldn't get much worse.
It's okay, Brian. You get one.
Now I have to be on my toes. Now I for sure have to be on my toes. It may have to be one a year is what it might have to be. One.
See, we're going to allow a guy to take out the garage door once a year.
Okay.
So that's what you just ran a forklift through the garage door, Brian.
You have one guy you allowed to do that?
Yep. He gets once a year, any more often than he's toast.
Okay.
He gets once a year. Different places have different stomachs for things. I was talking to someone, Adam, earlier today. It's like, so what is the threshold of acceptability of theft and just inventory disappearing? So you have to have a certain threshold of stupidity, and I wasn't thinking, sorry, I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So for people, they get one a year on taking out the garage door because they always seem to do so with that forklift. It just kind of happens. So it's just one of those things you budget in.
We'll do better next time, kids. We promise. So we'll see you next week. We better, yeah. We'll see you next week, and thanks, Sabang, and thanks for all the fishes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
So that happened. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. This band of knuckleheads will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr as Funny Books and Firewater, and on Twitter as @FirewaterCast. Go to funnybooksandfirewater.com for the most up-to-date information, as well as cocktail recipes from this and past episodes. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, support your local comic shop, tip your bartender well, and stay hydrated.